What was it like being around DMX?
DMX was dangerous, man.
Straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it. I don't. Bring it. Bring it. The industry, if you ain't got a strong mind, the industry will break you down. It's a matter of time. The industry, vultures with nothing to feast on. You got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The record label executive, and it's like there's too much of that going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me be me, the artist that I am, and just play my motherfucking music.
I heard you got kidnapped as well.
Almost.
Okay.
Oh, we was a little ahead of the situation just by doing some red.
And this in Africa?
Yeah, Angola. We kind of knew something was a little off because, you know, out there they pushed the runway up to the plane. I mean, the steps.
Right.
So it came on the plane. It came on. I was like, come on, y'all. And we first got there. So it was like, oh, this like we were like, yo, that shit easy.
I've never heard of it.
At the same time, it's like,
This is
nigga got a lot of authority and power here. You know what I'm saying? As we go into the hotel, we happen to see the American Embassy. So we're like, yo, shit, yo, let's go in there and say what's up. That's what saved us.
Well,
That's what saved us. Went in there and the chick who was in charge, the lady that was in charge, was from Harlem.
Get out of here.
So we started, oh, yo, we from New York. So yeah, take my number. Just on some regular, get invited to the show type shit.
Tell me if I'm wrong. In the rap world, if you do time in jail, prison, or you've been shot, that's a badge of courage, right? That gives you street cred.
Not really. I mean, I guess in any world, as people like, ooh, you made it. You know, that's like surviving something that a lot of people didn't survive. So I guess in that aspect, but that's not so much the rap world, it's in any world, you know?
So does this time in jail here, does it help your standing with your fans?
No, it's actually, man, it's wasting time. You know, it's wasting time. There's so many things I could be doing. But then again, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Just a little bit of time. And it's not gonna be long. It's not gonna be long, it'll be over soon. And before you know it, I'll be back doing what I'm supposed to be doing. The gospel according to X. You know, music, movies, speaking to people, you know.
Murder Mook said that he seen you battle a dude on Lennox Avenue, I
This is the
think.
best story.
And he said that you trained your dog to do ad-libs.
DMX, he lived around our hood, like they had put him like in his building to you know chill out for.
Did he have dogs?
He had his dog, right? Boom,
Continue.
right? He battled him, and he do some shit like horns to the Viking. This is all I remember. The horns to the like you. Some horns to the like you. Be careful. Check with my dog. She might bite you. And then the dog, he go, and then the dog go, it's like, no, look. And then the dog growl, he's like, chill, mom, let me get him. I'm never gonna.
He could have made that up. Like maybe it was something that happened.
Maybe I was already rapping, the dog growled, I was like, just, and but he thought it was part of the rhyme. That could happen.
But it wasn't planned.
There you go.
Holy moly guacamole. That's even else.
I met X in River Park Towers. River Park Towers, they say, is the worst part of New York City. I was in River Park Towers one night and they threw a refrigerator off the roof. Do you know how that sounds? Boom! Like you think an earthquake. And no one's flinching. Oh man. And I'm there one night with a homie, and DMX pulls up with his lawyer and a drop top with 6 dogs in it, and the lawyer is just getting licked all over his face. The lawyer does not want to be here. This lawyer's getting licked. I'm looking, and I'm like, X, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here?
Ditto,
I'm like, we're both out of line. What? I met X in River Park Towers. River Park Towers, they say, is the worst part of New York City. I was in River Park Towers one night and they threw a refrigerator off the roof. You know how that sounds? Boom! Like you think an earthquake, and no one's flinching. And I'm there one night and DMX pulls up with his lawyer and a drop top with 6 dogs in it. And the lawyer is just getting licked all over his face. The lawyer does not want to be here. This lawyer's getting licked. I'm looking, and I'm like, X, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, we're both out of line.
Now, Yonkers, y'all had heroes that we didn't know about yet. like DMX. When y'all was running around with Warlocks, y'all looking up at DMX. He's like a superstar in Yonkers.
Absolutely. X.
Tell me about that era.
X, come on, man. X was like the first battle rapper to us. X was really robbing people and rapping about it later. Like, yo, man, X was getting high and bugging out with this dog and having a dog rob you. And I'm not making this up, man. Yo, Luch, yo. And then we wound up, he told the Rough Riders, DNY about us. And they became management. And X would like try to ask, can he keep the dog at my house? My mama come home with the dog in the living room, but the dog won't do nothing. I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But X was, X, rest in peace, so solid, man.
Yes.
But was really, really living that life.
I see what's in people. You know what I'm saying? You know,
good
I see
in people?
I see the good and I see the bullshit too.
Okay.
I got a phrase that goes, always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact that you can see them well. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it takes too much energy to not trust someone. You know what I mean? It takes too much energy. You only got to stay 2 steps ahead of them or whatever. But trust them to beat them.
To be themselves.
Trust the snake to bite you. Trust the lion to lie for you. Trust the thief to steal from you. Like, trust them to beat them. But know them when you see them.
If you know street politics from the 90s and early 2000s, then you know rappers couldn't walk into certain neighborhoods like nothing mattered. There were rules. Show respect, recognize who held weight, and check in. Most artists followed that code, but DMX was never built like everybody else. According to Fredro Starr and Sticky Fingers, when Crip members approached X and told him he needed to check in, he looked them in the face and said, no, it wasn't some wild stunt and he wasn't trying to act tough. DMX simply didn't believe in bowing down to anybody, no matter whose block he was standing on. And somehow, that fearless move earned him respect instead of chaos. The Crips reportedly realized this wasn't some rapper putting on a street image for the cameras. This was Earl Simmons, a man who carried the same energy everywhere he went. He wasn't switching up, begging for approval, or playing scared just because the pressure got real. That raw honesty made people look at him differently.
DMX was dangerous, man. Like, not dangerous, but he's like, when you around him, he's like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Very unpredictable. Right. But at the end of the day, he showed a lot of love for Onyx. A lot of people don't know, like DMX, we met DMX.
So what really happened that day in Los Angeles? Fredro Starr and Sticky Fingers of Onyx recently broke down the story on Matt Hoffa's podcast, explaining how DMX moved when tension entered the room. Their version paints X as someone so solid in who he was that even people pressing him had to respect the way he stood his ground. Here's how they describe being around DMX. And that moment tells you almost everything about who DMX really was. He was never the kind of man who changed for anybody, not the music industry, not the media, and definitely not people in Los Angeles telling him how to move. But to understand why the Crips respected X that night, you have to understand the life that shaped Earl Simmons before fame.
I used to get a lot of...
Who was doing the beating?
My mother. If I did something wrong, her favorite thing was the extension cord, but she braided 3 of them together and would wait till I go to sleep. And she'd climb on my back, and just like, she used to beat till she was tired. I think that's why it's hard for me to sleep sometimes. I remember one time, she beat me with the broom and knocked out like 2 teeth. I'd go to school, I couldn't sit down, but we had a rule. Like, whatever went on in the house, you keep it in the house. She would always threaten us with, the white people are gonna come take you away. And then this around and just gives me away anyway, you know what I'm saying? At 7, and I got put in institutions,
You were 7?
Yeah, pretty much said, you know what? Everything and everybody hurt. You know, saying, like, yeah, you're just gonna leave me like, my mother don't care about me. It's like, all of y'all, and what?
DMX was born Earl Simmons on December 18th, 1970 in Mount Vernon, New York, and his childhood was rough from the start. His mother was very young, already raising 2 other children by age 19, while his biological father was mostly absent. Home life was unstable, and X later spoke about suffering neglect and physical mistreatment from his mother and men around her. Those experiences left deep scars and forced him to become tough before he could understand what was happening completely. To escape the chaos, young Earl wandered the streets of Yonkers, where he found comfort around stray dogs. That bond with animals wasn't just part of his image, it came from survival.
You love dogs more than people?
More than people.
Can you break that down for us?
A dog doesn't know how to lie to you. Dog doesn't know how to be fake. It is what it is. That's unconditional love. Unconditional love.
The dogs gave him loyalty, protection, and a sense of love he felt was missing at home. In many ways, they became the family he could trust when the people around him had failed him. X spent his youth moving through foster care and group homes, never getting the stability a kid needs. By 14, he had entered the juvenile justice system, and that pattern of incarceration followed him for years. But even inside all that disorder, hip-hop gave Earl Simmons something to hold on to. He first came up as a DJ and beatboxer before stepping into rapping. He took the name DMX from the Oberheim DMX drum machine, though he later said it meant Darkman X. On the freestyle battle scene, X built his name from the ground up. No label created that image, and nobody handed him respect. He earned attention through raw skill, fearless energy, and a presence that made people listen. And let's be real, DMX could look intimidating. He carried himself like somebody who had already seen the worst and wasn't easily shaken. Unlike artists who only performed a street image in the studio, X had a history with arrests, jail, addiction, and survival. That doesn't make every choice right, but it explains why people knew he wasn't pretending. So when Crip members reportedly confronted him, they weren't facing some rapper acting tough for attention.
Whenever I went through something, it brought me closer to God. And I stayed into something. So now I'm closer to God. But being closer is hard. The attacks get stronger, become much harder to fight, and they last longer. But that's what it's always been. Joy, pain, dark with the light, sun with the rain. But with the right perspective, there can be something to gain. Look for the good and the bad, not the sun when it rains. And in every situation, you can get something good out of it if you're strong enough emotionally to look past the fact that you do have the right to be hurt. But you know what? Let me put my hurt aside for a minute and see what I can get from this situation.
They were dealing with a man shaped by childhood trauma, foster care, the streets, prison, and addiction, yet still standing. And this is where the story gets deeper. DMX was never just a hard street rapper. He was complicated, thoughtful, and constantly fighting battles inside himself. One moment he could rap about crime and violence, then turn around and speak directly to God with raw emotion. His debut album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, feels like a trip into darkness, followed by a desperate climb back toward the light. The album opens with a tense, almost warlike energy, then crashes into Rough Riders' anthem with that loud, fearless attitude. But after the aggression, X shifts into deeper records where he sounds wounded, reflective, and spiritually exhausted.
The industry, man, it's not the same. Doesn't have to do with talent, it's about playing the game. The industry, real niggas is dying to get in. The industry, justifying they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. The industry's trying to control the way you MC. They want you to dress like this and talk like that. But I'm going to dress like this and talk with the bat. The industry, got your word meaning nothing. The industry, wanted, dead or alive, new artists to sell their souls in the way they survive. The industry don't give a fuck about you. But the industry couldn't make a dime without you.
He wasn't only describing street life, he was questioning his choices, his future, and whether his soul could still be saved. On tracks like The Prayer and The Convo, DMX sounds more afraid of eternal punishment than another jail sentence. He wasn't trying to prove to fans that he was dangerous. He sounded like a man trying to believe he still deserved God's mercy. The Damien trilogy captures that struggle perfectly. Damien appears as a slick hustler tempting X with power, money, and women, but the character really represents the darkness inside him. 1 second X is giving in to temptation, the next he's asking God to forgive him before it was too late. And that inner battle is what made DMX so unpredictable, and in a strange way, so intimidating. Nobody knew which X would show up. the reckless, aggressive fighter, or the deeply spiritual man searching for peace. Truthfully, even DMX seemed unsure sometimes because he was always battling something inside himself. But the media loved turning that struggle into a spectacle. X had lived through serious trauma and openly fought addiction for years. Yet headlines often treated his pain like entertainment. Instead of showing the full person, tabloids pushed the image of DMX as wild, unstable, and impossible to control. Meanwhile, X had been warning people that the real darkness might be inside the music business itself. In his poem, The Industry, he told young artists that the business could tempt them, use them for profit, and toss them aside once the money slowed down. Looking back, many fans believe those warnings hit harder than ever. Still, even after his death, some coverage reduced Earl Simmons to a headline instead of recognizing the complicated man behind the music. Then came his memorial at Barclays Center on April 24th, 2021. During the service, pre-recorded tributes were played from people who could not attend in person, and one unexpected message pushed this conversation into an even deeper and far more emotional direction. Former Def Jam executive Lyre Cohen was among the people heard through a pre-recorded tribute, and one part caused backlash. In the message, he described DMX as a gremlin and said people were not surprised that X's struggle with substance use ended. To many listeners, that wording felt cold and dehumanizing, especially during a memorial to honor Earl Simmons and comfort the people grieving him. Now, nobody has to pretend DMX was perfect. He openly carried flaws, made mistakes, and never built his image around being some spotless hero. He admitted to addiction, legal trouble, and being unfaithful in his marriage. That honesty was part of what made him feel human, even when his choices hurt the people near him. But this is where the public image becomes complicated. DMX was framed as dangerous, unstable, and impossible to control. Yet his most widely documented battles centered on trauma, addiction, arrests, and self-destruction, not a public pattern of using fame to exploit vulnerable young people or force himself on women. That distinction matters, even though basic respect should never be treated like a special achievement. So why was X pushed as the industry's monster while other powerful figures received cleaner, more polished treatment? Fans believe his refusal to play the game made him harder to control. DMX spoke bluntly about the business, exposed his own darkness, and warned artists about losing themselves. When you view it that way, the Madman label starts looking less like the truth and more like a convenient way to dismiss a man who kept challenging the system. And that brings us back to the night DMX was confronted in Los Angeles. The reason he could look Crip members in the face and refuse to check in wasn't because he thought he was untouchable. It was because X had spent his entire life refusing to let fear control him. He had already faced violence, abandonment, jail, addiction, fame, and the darkest parts of his own mind. By that point, another threat on another block wasn't enough to make him switch up. Fredro Starr and Sticky Fingers made it clear that DMX carried a different type of energy. He wasn't loud just to impress people, and he didn't need a crowd behind him to feel tough. X stood on who he was, even when the situation could have gone left fast. The Crips reportedly saw that he wasn't disrespecting them for attention. He simply refused to perform submission for anybody. That's why the moment didn't turn into the disaster people might expect. Real recognizes real, and the men confronting him apparently understood that DMX was not playing a character. He had the same raw, fearless attitude off stage that fans heard in his music. In a world where many rappers carefully protect an image, X had no mask to take off. What you saw was what you got. And sometimes that honesty was more powerful than any security team, entourage, or industry connection. But respect didn't mean DMX was invincible, and that's what makes this story hit even harder. X survived situations that would have broken most people, yet the biggest danger was never always outside him. It was the pain he carried everywhere he went. The streets could test him, the industry could label him, and the media could turn him into a headline, but none of that was more powerful powerful than the fight happening inside Earl Simmons. That's why his music still feels so real years later. DMX never gave fans a polished version of struggle. He gave them the anger, the fear, the prayers, the mistakes, and the shame. One track could make you feel ready for war, while the next sounded like a man begging for one more chance. That emotional honesty is something the industry could never manufacture. And maybe that's what the Crips recognized that day. They weren't just looking at a famous rapper with hit records. They were looking at somebody who had already been tested by life in ways most people could never imagine. X wasn't fearless because he had nothing to lose. He was fearless because he had already lost so much and still refused to bend. That moment became bigger than a street story. It showed exactly why DMX connected with millions of people. He was rough, spiritual, wounded, loyal, reckless, and honest, all at the same time. In a business full of carefully built images, DMX was one of the rare artists who felt completely unfiltered. DMX warned young artists about the music business, and fans believed that made powerful people uncomfortable. Being rejected by an industry with such a messy record can look like a badge of honor. Critics point to how figures such as Diddy, Jay-Z, and Russell Simmons faced allegations or controversy. Those claims should be judged by verified facts. But the contrast leaves one question: why was DMX presented as the danger? Dangerous to who? To executives who wanted him quiet, controlled, and easy to sell. DMX was not perfect, and nobody should erase his mistakes, but he never hid behind a flawless image. He spoke about addiction, pain, faith, jail, and the dark side of fame without cleaning it up for cameras. To many supporters, that made him dangerous to a system that prefers artists who follow the script and stay silent. When you look at who gets protected or pushed aside, being on the industry's bad side can hit different. The respect DMX carried was not manufactured by a label or built through public relations. It came from how he lived, spoke, and stood firm under pressure. That is why the Crips reportedly respected him that night, why the streets embraced him, and why millions of fans still hold his legacy close. Now it's your turn. Do you believe the industry tried to tear DMX down because he was too real, or was his downfall mainly caused by the battles he carried inside? Drop your thoughts below, hit the like button, subscribe to Dripzine, and stay locked in for the next video.